So I was reading this book recently called The Almanac of Naval Ravikant. And in that book, really great book, by the way, just Naval Ravikant, it's his collected kind of wisdom. He talks about health, happiness, success. Really great book. He's an angel investor, Silicon Valley type of guy. Really interesting. And one of the things he talks about in it a lot is the importance of learning the foundations and fundamentals of topics before diving into more complex theories, because the foundations are really where you gain an understanding of it, and then the more complex theories are maybe where you can go. One of the examples he gave was for math. Most people, if you're a scientist, of course, this is different, but most people don't need to know calculus. They need a really good understanding of arithmetic and basic math so that they can be super effective in their everyday life or say in their job in business, but they don't necessarily need a great understanding of calculus. Of course, if you're a scientist, it's a little different, but I took from that, okay, foundations are important, and then I was just thinking about applying this kind of on a more global scale. And when you think about it, the fundamentals of things and the nature of the game, so to speak, doesn't really change even when we invent things. All that really changes are time and scale. So let's think about this through a few examples. Let's say a car. Okay, car speeds up travel. It's a pretty big invention, but all it does is it speeds up travel so we can do more in less time, and we also have more scale. More people can travel because now you don't need to own horses to travel. You can travel in a car. You can buy a car, especially in the age of mass manufacturing. Let's look at it with AI. Well, we could already search stuff up, and even before, let's say, Google, we could read a book and find stuff that way or talk to people. So AI definitely impacts time, and it also impacts scale because we can search more resources faster. So kind of time and scale again. And what's really cool is you can even take this to stuff like evolution. So let's say evolution, monkey to human. Specifically, let's maybe talk about the brain. So monkey also has brain, of course. Humans, we basically have similar brain, but bigger. And apparently, one of the things I was reading, I'm not sure of the exact factuality of this, but one of the things I was reading was just saying the difference between us is that humans, we don't have the genes that limit brain size, whereas monkeys do have those genes. And of course, we have differences in terms of we're not really hairy and stuff, but we are pretty similar. And what actually is changing? So monkeys, they can fight wars, they have tribes, they have societies to some degree, but their societies are smaller and they have less destruction and they can't really think as fast. They can't think on the same scale at the very least. Humans, we've got bigger brains, we're more complex. We think of ourselves as these awesome creatures, but at the same time, all we really have improved on in terms of our brain and our thinking and our societies is time and scale. We can think faster and think bigger. With societies, we can form societies faster, right? Imagine, I'm in a city right now. Imagine a big city. Take monkeys a long time to form a big city. And we can have bigger societies. And one of the things I was thinking about, which I haven't done a lot of research in yet, but I'd like to, is just looking at if the size of our brain, and let's say you look at a bunch of animals, if the size of their brain actually correlates to how big the societies they form are, how big the packs, the tribes they form are. Because obviously monkeys have a smaller society than humans, and humans are much bigger, but what if that correlation with brain size holds true for other things? But the basics of it are the things that change, time and scale. And that seems to, at least from the thinking I've done, work for a lot of these things. When we make new inventions, even though, let's go back to AI is changing everything. When you really think about it, all it's changing is time and scale. The fundamentals of how you should be thinking, how you should be using those tools still remains the same.